Candid Frame 8. Welcome to the 200th episode of The Candid Frame. When thinking about this episode, I knew I wanted someone with whom I could have a great conversation. I wanted it to be a person who I knew would be great fun to talk with. So when I found out that Dan Winters was going to be in town for an exhibit at the Fahey Klein Gallery, I dropped him a line, and thankfully he agreed to be a guest on the show. This episode is going to be a little longer than the average, but as you'll listen, you'll realize very quickly why I didn't have the heart to cut it down to 45 minutes. So I want to thank Dan for being so gracious with his time. Though reaching 200 episodes provides others an opportunity for a lot of navel-gazing, I want to thank someone who never listened to an episode of the show and who never owned a computer. That person is my father, who died unexpectedly last month. My father wasn't famous. He didn't accomplish things that would result in him being profiled in a newspaper or a magazine. He was a simple, hard-working man who helped to raise 4 boys and a girl. He worked for most of his life as a pressman. It was a job that he took great pride in and whose craftsmanship I never appreciated until I was much older. His life wasn't an easy one, as he grew up in an abusive household during a time when the Dominican Republic was controlled under a cruel dictatorship. He faced many challenges and struggles in his life, particularly in his later years, as his health slowly diminished his ability to do even the simplest things. But despite all that, he was a man who loved his life, his family, and his friends. Though he didn't have much, he was always generous, even with the little he might have. Though like anyone, he had his faults, he strived to be a good father, a good husband, a good worker, and a good friend. I am grateful that I had him in my life for as long as I did, and was able to share some of my professional successes with him. And though he never spoke the words, I knew he was very proud of me. But most important of all, I knew he loved me, and that I loved him. Regardless of what I achieve in my life, it will be my father's simple example that I will always strive to meet. Pablo Antonio Perello will always be remembered for exactly what he was, a good man. And I will miss him terribly. This one's for you, Dad. All right, let's just jump into it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, actually.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this again.
Oh, I'm thrilled.
I was very pleased when I heard that you were in town, because I haven't seen you in a year.
It's been a year.
It's been over a year. It was May of last year.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No wonder they're getting frustrated with me about the book. Ted is actually, I will say, to Ted's credit, he's never once, I've never felt one time like he's pushed me. I've never even signed a contract with him. I've nothing on paper. And he said, this is all going to be fine, it's all going to be fine, it's all going to be fine. And he's kind of keeping everyone at bay. But it's gotten to the point a little bit where the powers that be are kind of, really honestly saying, can we see anything? Can we see something?